truth is, I'm from the future. Over and over, and every time, to watch you die. What do I have to do to save you? What do I have to do to change your fate?
Humans who do not worship the seven are nigh extinct.
And all who place faith
In the gods are my enemies.
the curse. It was a gift.
Given to the people of Kshatriya by
Force. Gods.
What's happened to me?
No more red sky.
no more end of the world.
Hey, you want some cherries with that chocolate syrup?
Oh, sure.
Catch!
Celestial Atlas, and who passes through countless worlds. If our history is engraved in your memory, it will one day accompany you into another world. As long as a traveler like you is able to record what happened, then a backup of sorts will exist for times and tides of Ťavat.
Tale of the Twin Interstellar Travelers is a tale plagued with loss and grief. But we as players know almost next to nothing about who they truly are. Characters in the game call them celestial witnesses. Some believe they are younger than what they appear. Even they themselves lie about their age when they need to. The mystery of the travelers is so ingrained in the lore that trying to piece it together is difficult enough as it is. So today, I want to summarize and theorize the past of Genshin's main characters, Aether and Lumine, as well as understand the dynamics that they share as the Traveler and the Abyss Sibling. For the purposes of ease, I will use Aether as my Traveler and Lumine as my Abyss Sibling so I can attach a name to both of those titles. Let's begin. The Travelers come from an unknown world that was burnt to dust, the wonders they knew reduced to ashes. The Twins' old world was a world where humankind was trying to preserve a doomed civilization, and that world was once their last and only home. From what we know, Aether's old home bore the color of Venti's eyes according to the Mondstadt Archon quest. Aether also has a line that says people's fates are tied to their constellations, and that the Traveler's stars are much different than the ones in Ťavat. However, the Sword of T'Ascension hints that their old world was faced by a star-devouring darkness, and that humanity tried to defy the fate of destruction. The introduction for Lumine states, however, that one day they should have their own world, and their own people, as though it is their responsibility as interstellar travelers to continue the legacy of their old world by finding a new place to call home. Lumine and Aether were referred to as the last descendants of the subjugated civilization. A mysterious character known as KK told them that they shouldn't lose faith in what they have lost, and that as long as their attitude of nobleness and kindness do not change, there will always be best companions to travel with them. Afterwards, the two would leave their old home and travel many worlds together. We know Ťavat isn't their first world based on the dialogue Aether and Zhongli have. Aether mentions that there are worlds that treat scientific practices like alchemy, for example, as heretical, while Zhongli states that Aether is a being that traversed the Celestial Atlas. Additionally, La Señora's flavor text calls Aether as the Eternal Traveler. When the twins arrive to Ťavat, they both arrive as stars. Whether they arrived as meteors or simply just manifesting from the sky is unknown. A's good evening line cements this even further.
Do you wish to know the truth about the shooting stars at night? They are but fleeting moments of luminosity. You used to be one of them?
It's also fascinating to ask if they know about the false sky. If Ťevaht has a physical planet much like our own that has its own sky dome, it's possible that the travelers had to break into the sky dome to enter Ťevaht in the first place, which means that this revelation by Skymush was already known to Aether, that the sky is all a gigantic hoax. So now we cut over to Lumine waking up in Ťevaht more than 500 years ago. According to the 1.4 Archon quest, she woke up before Aether. The gap is currently unknown. We can guess though that it must have been enough to establish a clear relationship with the people of Khaenri'ah before the cataclysm. Lumine regards Khaenri'ah as a homeland, as evidenced by the dialogue in the Mondstadt Archon quest and the 2.6 Archon quest with Dainsleif. I don't doubt Lumine won over the hearts of the people as a helper, much like Aether's current role in the story, given that the Abyss Order regards her with utmost respect. It was never confirmed though where they landed. Starfell Valley is a really good guess. Starfell Lake's flavor text states that a poem says that a star once fell to the earth, but other tales say that the stars that shine as bright as the Anemo Archon's eyes will fall into this lake one day. If the Cataclysm cutscene was truly Star Snatch Cliff, then it would make sense for Lumine to arrive here alone. Aether would have still been asleep in Starfell Lake, and she would need to return to her brother to wake him up. She wakes up her brother in a panic and tells him that they should leave Ťevaht because it was a dangerous world. But as they leave, they are stopped by the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles and put into separate modes of suspension for years to come. Let's start with Lumine waking up first. Lumine waking up might be connected to her journey with Dain. It's unknown whether Lumine traveled before or after the Cataclysm, but as far as we know, she has gone through this world once according to her, meaning that she and Dain probably traveled after the Cataclysm to regain Lumine's lost power. Their falling out would have cemented Lumine's allegiance to the Abyss Order, and she would have known the truth of Celestia and the Cataclysm through her journey across Ťevaht. In my opinion, it would just make sense for her to travel after the Cataclysm to further her resolve of fighting against Celestia, much like how we as a player are being shown more and more questionable things about the gods as time moves on. On the other hand, we have Aether's awakening. According to Aether's lore, the sleep that the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles placed upon them was filled with raging nightmares. This most likely ties in with the memories in the 2.7 Archon quest. Something that always bugged me was that if the realm was a manifestation of key events in the character's life, shouldn't the traveler's past trauma manifest through the opening cutscene or something? But when I thought of it further, it made a lot more sense if it was the traveler reliving the years of nightmares the suspension gave them.
Have you ever had one of those super scary nightmares?
I've dreamed of falling through endless darkness without a wind glider. I've also dreamed of my sister walking away from me while I'm unable to catch up to her no matter how fast I run. She tells me that I've come too late.
The second one is when you get to 2.6, the traveler said that the Abyss took Lumine away, which is a rather peculiar statement to make. So, which one is it in Aether's eyes? Did the Abyss take Lumine away and corrupted her, or did the Sustainer take her away after the Cataclysm? Regardless, Aether's mission even to this day is to still find Lumine. One thing that I want to mention is the parallel between the fate of Lumine in Aether's old homeworld versus the heavenly principles of Ťevaht. In the Sword of Dissension, we see that the law of the universe is that all who exist must one day perish, and that this fate of devastation is immovable. To go against it is an act of folly. To replicate this, Prayer's artifact set states Ťevaht's potential foundational principles. Every mighty and ancient city, and every austere place of sacrifice must one day return to profundity in the earth. All prosperity must someday end. At the end of the cycle, the earth shall be renewed. Thus, eternity is cyclical. It's pretty sad to see that fate just isn't ready to throw the travelers a bone here, and that no matter where they go, they still have to face the cruel reality of gods and destiny. Which leads me to the final part of the video. But now, moving forward, the Abyss are currently making their next moves with the following projects. The revival of the homeland is something that Lumine prioritizes, believing that if there was even a 1% chance of success, she had to take it. Lumine also has plans to harness celestial power and corrupt it to create a mechanical god. Aether, on the other hand, is here to stop her plans, believing that the 1% she is clinging onto is jeopardizing the lives of so many people and is a foolish endeavor. It's a really big contrast to usual shonen protagonist relationships where it's the hardy and optimistic protagonist that tries to expend all resources just for the sake of others. But Aether is much more grounded in the fact that Lumine's desperation to revive 𝚗𝚘 is absurd and improbable. But there is one final thing that I want to state that could tie in with the twins' discourse of fate. In the trailer, Bane says that the Traveler will one day be tested to see if they are worthy to manipulate the threads of fate. The term Loom of Fate is also mentioned in the 1.4 Archon quest and the character story of the Traveler. The Loom of Fate is a term used to describe how fate is woven like a thread, and perhaps this is Lumine's way of manipulating the tides for the sake of the Abyss Order. Or this is Aether's way of manipulating fate to save his sister. It's a fascinating prospect in my opinion, one that is certainly going to be valuable in the future. But regardless, that's all we know from the Travelers and their current relationship with one another. I love the fact that Hoyoverse already revealed to Aether that Lumine is the Abyss sibling instead of beating around the bush or keeping it a mystery to him but not the players. It really forces Aether's character to reconsider his motivation of, I want to find my sister, and add more layers to it. I want to find my sister to stop the Abyss Order, or to save her from the Abyss, or to stop her from destroying Teyvat. Something like that. Anyway, my name is Aster and thank you for chilling with me. This was a pretty short video, but I hope you enjoy. Also, happy July everyone. And I just want to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of this channel. How fascinating.